Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Alex DeMartian, a game studies professor and game developer. Today, I want to talk about something that I've been personally struggling with, or I should say, really currently struggling with, and that's seeking too much advice in all the different facets of my life. You might think that gathering as many opinions as possible would lead to the best decision, but the reality is, too much advice creates confusion, social chaos, and ultimately self doubt. There's less time to seek wisdom, but there's also a time to act, and sometimes when we talk too much, we give our worries way too much power. Now, there's a trap to asking too many people for their advice. And again, I'll be the first to admit I'm guilty of this. Whenever I face a big decision, I have this habit of asking a million people what they think in my mind. I believe this will help me to get the best outcome. But my wife is, again, I feel like she's a very discerning person and she sees right through this. And sometimes she'll stop me with a mid sentence and just say something like, "Alex, please stop," right? She's not being mean. She's calling me out because she knows what's happening. Oftentimes we'll spiral or I'm overanalyzing. I'm trying to find certainty in something that can never be 100% certain. And she's right. There's even a sort of offshoot Christian saying that says, "Stop talking, the devil is listening." This doesn't mean that we should never speak. It just means that the more we talk about our fears, anxieties, and doubts, the more power they gain over us. The devil or negativity itself can only expect or really exploit what we reveal. There's also a biblical warning, right? There's a passage in the Bible, it's Proverbs 6:2, and what it says is, "You are snared by the words of your mouth. You are taken by the words of your mouth." This means that when we speak, the words that we speak can trap us. If we constantly talk about our fears, our doubts, or uncertainties, we become slaves to them. Have you ever noticed the more you talk about a problem, the bigger the problem seems to become? But when you keep moving forward in faith, things often just work out. This is why we need to be careful about who we share our worries with. Not everyone is meant to hear them. Some people might unintentionally feed your fears instead of guiding you towards a solution. There's sort of this story that I like. It's about a farmer. And the way it goes is something like this. One day, the farmer's only horse ran away. And the villagers came to him saying, "This is terrible news. You must be miserable. How will you ever make any money?" And the farmer simply replied, "We will see." A few days later, the horse returned, bringing with it a group of wild horses. The villagers now exclaimed, "This is wonderful. You are so lucky." Again, the farmer calmly responded, "We will see." Soon after, the farmer's son was training one of the wild horses when he fell and broke his leg. The villagers gasped, "How awful. Now we won't be able to work anymore. This is such bad luck." Once again, the farmer said, "We will see." Not long after, a general came to the village recruiting young men for an unjust war. Because the farmer's son had broken his leg, he was spared from being taken to the battle. The villagers now praised the farmer. "How fortunate, your son is safe." And as always, the farmer replied, "We will see." The story teaches us that we don't always know the full picture. What looks like a setback today might be a blessing tomorrow. If we talk too much about our problems, we often give them more weight than they deserve. Instead, like the wise farmer, we should trust the process and just move forward. Now, a lot of times we should listen to our instinct, and you might be like, "Well, my instinct is telling me to ask a million people questions." So what should you do instead of endlessly seeking advice? And the truth is, you sort of have to learn to trust yourself and form sort of some golden rules. And these rules can be something like this. Not everyone who gives you advice is qualified to do so. Even myself. I've provided advice to people just based on hearsay or things that I've known, and I'm doing my best in life to not do that anymore. I'm only providing advice on things that I've found success in. And even in those things, your passage or your journey might be different than mine. But at least through trying things that are good and that were with integrity, you will grow. And that's a really nice part about it. So for instance, if you're going through a legal issue, listen to a good lawyer who follows the letter of the law. Again, we hear these stories about people shaving the system or doing things like that. Cut those stories out. Yes, they exist. But what can you control except by living to the letter of the law? And at least with integrity, you can say, "No, this is unjust. I'm following the letter of the law." And again, you don't want to follow random people in your life. You want to find authorities who live with integrity. If you're struggling in a relationship, for example, seek wisdoms from those who live with an integrity and they live in a relationship that they're doing their best to grow. Again, there's the saying, "I will be more passionate or kind with your heart than my own." You want to look for people who are looking for that, and you want to live that yourself. And again, before you follow someone's advice, ask yourself, do they follow the letter of the law? Do they strive to live a just life? If not, why would you take their advice? Again, we're all broken people. This isn't a way of judging people. It's just a way of seeking, discerning advice. Another thing you sort of have to do is let go and have faith. You will never have all the answers before making a decision. At some point, you'll have to step out in faith and take action. I know people who are going through a tough decision and they just stay in bed all day, they gain weight, and their life becomes worse. Sometimes you have to say, I can control this aspect of my life. I'm going to the gym. I can control the food I take. And again, been guilty of this in the past. Been saddened at certain points in my life and let it take over. Everyone goes through it. But overthinking about things doesn't prevent the mistake. If anything, it makes them more likely because you'll delay, hesitate, and again, make a decision based on fear or no decision at all, right? There's that decision paralysis thing. So what you can do is follow a nice regimen, meditate or pray on it, seek wisdom, but don't let fear control you. Follow the rules to the letter. Whether it's in business, legal matters, or relationships, do things the right way. I know I keep bringing this up. I just think it's so important. If you cut corners, ignore the details, or act out of emotion, you leave yourself open to manipulation and exploitation. Just like how the devil exploits weakness, so do people who don't have your best interest at heart. Protect yourself by being disciplined and thorough. I grew up surrounded by love. So did my siblings. This attracts people who aren't surrounded by love because they're seeking that in you. Now, there are people who are looking for that and they want to grow. Now, there's other people where misery loves company and they see you surrounded by love and they want to pull you away from that love. And you have to be very careful. So here's my final thoughts. And really, it's about pushing through and trusting the process. Life will always present you with choices, and you'll always find people eager to give their opinions. But remember, this is your life. You're responsible for your choices. Push through past pressures. Be bold, take action, and seek wisdom, but don't let too much advice paralyze you. I promise you, your future is bright. Trust yourself, let go of fear, and move forward with confidence. Thank you, and please keep creating, and I can't wait to see the games you create. Take care.